Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. My name is Trifium, and joining me for Russian Endurance Racing, Mr. Unicorn, it's Sochi. And well, what a day it's been in the qualifying for Sochi. We'll have to see if we can get ourselves some good excitement as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Striff. It's, good to be back. A week break from, endurance, of course. And MRL as a whole has been on a break week, but we're back, like you said, Russia here. A very, very wild, unexpected qualifying sort of results there. Very, sort of shuffled from what we would typically see. The front three in particular, very wild. It's the first time we've had those constructors in that order in the front three since 2004. So whether we see something equally as chaotic today, well, we don't know. We're trying a few things out with the lobby, which means we don't have control of the weather for endurance like we typically would, but that does mean that it is, unpredictable. And I think, well, that's pretty fitting considering how the weather has been treating everyone over in Russia at the moment, over at Sochi.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree with you more there. We can see the circuit here on screen now. A very intense circuit, a very fast-flowing circuit here in Sochi, and now we'll be having a 20 driver lineup come through into 53 laps of action. It's going to be a very, very intense campaign here. It's very short qualifying, 18 minutes, not like the 3 qualifying sessions you get out of a full qualifying like in the real Formula 1, but it's always a very interesting dynamic to come through. And as well, when you think about it, we normally, as you mentioned, have that control of the weather. This time they're coming into that dynamic setting a little bit similar to what we do in the regular MRL season. Normally, I would suggest if we were to come into this endurance races past, they would definitely have a wet qualifying, as we saw in the qualifying today. And then we would do our best to try and do what we think for the forecast tomorrow. But, of course, Russia, a very, very fun circuit to watch racing around. We've seen it before in the MRL. We had an entire week dedicated to this circuit already in the MRL Season 5 action, Unicorn, where we saw a whole plethora of amazing wheel-to-wheel battles.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, unlike in real life, there's a lot of wheel-to-wheel potential here in the game. Obviously, Sector 3, a little bit more closed off in real life, but here in the game, turn one, well, it's a high-speed corner. You can really go, flat out side by side through there. Can cause problems though. Turn 2, that's the real run at the start of the race. Then, of course, you've got a long swooping left-hander of turn 3 into turn 4. Again, plenty of overtake opportunity. Sector 2, full of side-by-side potential. We had that massive crash, if you cast your minds back a bit, through turns 8 and 9 there. So we'll see if we get anything like that. Hopefully the drivers can keep it clean, but everything, every corner here, able to go side by side, but in doing so, can catch some of the drivers out. And then Sector 3, it is tricky to go side by side there. Pretty much impossible in real life, but here in the game, people are brave enough to dive up the inside into turn 13 at the end of that DRS section through 11 and 12, down into that tight right-hand corner. Then, if you get a good exit, turns 14 and 15 can see side-by-side action too. And then the last 2 corners, well, even they, you can try and squeeze and move up the inside. So here, in the game, it's a very, very exciting track to watch. Like you said, you can go side by side pretty much everywhere, despite the fact that it might not be the best idea in some instances, but the opportunity can present itself. And over 53 laps here in the Endurance Series, I'm sure we'll see it at least once in every corner tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right here. Most definitely. 53 laps. I mean, we're going to see everything you can think of. We have a very fast grid, a very good lineup of racers here with us this evening, and we'll take you through them, of course, in the qualifying session. But I'm extremely excited just getting a bit of a look at who is on this grid today. We're going to have ourselves a very, very fast, fun, fantastic race ahead of us here in Sochi, and of course ahead of what will be tomorrow's Russian Grand Prix in reality. And I think that, well, Russia, a circuit that has its critics for sure, but I think we've seen some good racing there. We, of course, have that very, very long turn 3, that very big left-hander, that big sweeping left, and then we have that very long straight into the right-hander where you can see some good overtaking with the DRS, some good 90-degree turns through here in Sector 3 to really shake things up. It's a circuit that has some big fans and then some big critics, so we'll see how things go here for 53 laps. We were just about, I think, a minute away from jumping into our qualifying session here. We're doing things a little bit differently. We're using our we're using a different lobby style. We're using a league style lobby session today to see if we get any kind of better net performance, considering some of the desync issues that have been going on recently in the latest patch, with of course wanting to get into the cleanest and, well, the most enjoyable racing without some of those.
Yeah, absolutely. We want the lobby to be stable. We want the racing to be consistently good for not just us watching, but obviously the racers as well. Very, very annoying for them. You know, post race, they're analyzing what's happened and they're saying that something's completely different has occurred on each other's screens. So hopefully this sort of workaround that some people in the community seem to have found works for us tonight. You know, we've got 20 seconds until we load into qualifying now, and that'll be 80 minutes. That'll be our first sort of look as to whether, you know, everything's working in order. Qualifying usually pretty smooth sailing. It's more the race that has had big problems for us, but you know, obviously we want everything to go smoothly. So qualifying, you know, like I said, the first tests, if everything goes well here, well, that paints a good picture for the rest of the evening, of course. But we are loading in now. I do believe we have all 20 drivers in. We do. And it's pretty overcast. It's not raining at the moment, Shift, but it looks like there's potential for some rain here.
It does look like there's potential, and I am assuming we'll get our typical weather forecast as we would in a regular league race. And of course, it's going to be 18 minutes of qualifying. And you can see 20 drivers on this grid with us. We have S2000, Yagsul. We have Brownie over at Haas. We have Yar with us over at Williams. It's four-door sedan in an AlphaTauri this evening. Blind in a Red Bull. We have Ben the Bear. No, not Ben the Bear, excuse me. Ben over in the McLaren. Ben the Bear is way further down in a different car. But we have two Bens on the grid today. MRL Ben, and we have Ben the Bear. Microlander in one of the Mercedes. We have Siffy over in the Williams. Excuse me, that's the Alpine. Freeware in the other Red Bull. We have Yaya Sanagoat in one of the Alfa Romeos with Johnny Disco in the other McLaren. Trick Sam, he will be in one of the other Alpines with Tutus in the other Haas. It's Ben the Bear, as mentioned, in the Mercedes. Neon will be in one of the Aston Martins partnering Wisp. Exit will be in the Ferrari. DJ is with us on the grid today. He will be in one of the Alfa Romeos with Noel Carlman, rounding out the rest of the drivers on the grid with the other Williams.
Yeah, and S2000, well, Neon was first out of the garage, but the AlphaTauri of S2000 has hopped into the lead position and will be first to start a flying lap, provided all goes well here on the rest of the outlap. I don't know whether Neon just wants a little bit of clear air, you know, doesn't want to fight anyone on his flying run, or whether it was a mistake. He did run wide coming through turn 4, but we'll see whether there's problems for the Dutch driver or is it is just, you know, letting someone else by, just getting into a nicer pocket of space for him before the flying runs start. But S2000 coming into the final section now. Won't be too long until we see the first flyer. There's an Alfa Romeo, it would seem, having a bit of a problem. It will be Yaya if there is one. He's going very slowly. Doesn't look like there's any damage, but hopefully for him that he was just, again, letting people pass rather than an issue. But it's the AlphaTauri of S2000 getting ready, gearing up. One corner to go until the first flying lap starts. The run to the line and pretty much non-existent coming out of the final corner, but now down towards turn 1. DRS open, turn 1. This very slight right-hander, flat through there, of course. DRS wide open, pulling you through down towards turn 2. This is where at the start of the race things are going to get chaotic. Through turn 2, then opening into turn 3. This long left-hander, trying to keep it as tight to the inside as possible through here to make it as short as possible and to give you the outside line going into turn 4. You don't want to hit that sausage curb on the inside, but you don't also want to ride too wide on the outside like he's just done there, invalidating the lap time. We're going to hop back then to Neon, who's got through. He is still on a valid flyer. He's now coming through turn 5 towards turn 6, similarly to turn 1. Pretty much invisible there. Now into turn 7 again. Sausage curbs to be avoided on the inside and track limits to be avoided on the outside. So a lot of these corners very tricky to navigate. Through 8 and 9 pretty much flawlessly. Might have clipped the curb on the inside a bit too much. Now coming out of turn 10, this is DRS enabled now through turn 11, through turn 12 that make up sort of this back straight, despite it being two combined corners that run into turn 13. This tight right-hander that opens up sector 3 here. Again, another sausage curb on the inside, which makes side-by-side even trickier. Now into the 90-degree corners we come. Here he goes, the first of many. 15, getting it switched around into 16, the right-hander, using the curb on the outside, but avoiding the wall as it gets a lot closer to the track. Now through into the penultimate corner, turn 17, going a bit wide on exit, not invalidating the lap though through the final corner, and to the line, a bit of a slide, but it's a 131 flat to open up as here with Neon in the Aston Martin.
Ben the Bear flying now. Vexit crosses in the Ferrari, a 130.522. Johnny Disco on the mediums in the McLaren, a 31.169 at Siffy into second position provisionally, and he has done that on a medium set as well. It was a 30.983 for the Alpine racer pushing down into turn 2, as there has now been a retirement on circuit. That is going to be blind just coming outside of turn 4. Neon has the view. Microlander pushing through. You can see Neon getting out of the way of the Mercedes there. But of course, Microlander having to navigate through blind and that retired car on circuit. And that is not how you want to be starting a 53 lap campaign. Well, that is a very big shunt to your confidence coming into a race like this.
Yeah, really far from ideal there. Yagswal, he just went P2 at 130.7, so it's a Ferrari front row as it stands. Still plenty of time though, obviously in the session, and lots of drivers yet to set up lap times. And well, there's one, Ben the Bear, a 130.259, 3/10 quicker than Vexit's previous best in that other Ferrari. So the Scuderia knocked off the top spot by the Mercedes driver. We'll see if he can continue that throughout the evening. The other Mercedes Microlander in the final sector right now. We'll see what time he's going to post on the borders. DJ ahead of him starts his first flying lap of the session. Here comes Microlander. He goes fourth fastest, sandwiching the Scuderias in between the two Mercedes. So 130.974 from him, just ahead of Siffy there.
Wisp on his way into the pit lane right now. A variety of drivers on invalidated. Renzo's checking in with freeware. Top Tuss is on the move. We'll have to see if he's got anything to put on the board here.
Yeah, a lot of drivers, I think invalidating that first run just with the amount of people with one laps on their tires, but haven't been able to post a lap time on the board there. So we'll see whether they go for a second run here, whether they call it back into the pit lane.
Top Tuss, P3. He ended up pulling that lap through to a very good position. I think he might have more in the tank tonight, as it looked like he was struggling a little bit there. We've seen Top Tuss. He's a very quick driver. Ben now on the rear of S2000. Not clear if Ben's flying. If he is going to be suffering a little bit of a loss at the hands of this AlphaTauri.
All right, DJ into the final sector now. The last couple of corners for the Alfa Romeo. We'll see what his first time of the evening is going to be. It's a 132.4, and it puts him 13th fastest as of right now, ahead of four-door sedan and just behind Noel Coleman there.
Solid run from DJ there. P13 now, as we have S2000. He's on the move. We saw him. He was the first driver to start a run here in Sochi tonight, but he did invalidate coming through just this section of circuit, this time keeping things clean.
Yeah, one thing I want to be interested to see what sort of pace the likes of Siffy and Johnny Disco have, and Noel as well to an extent. They've done their time on the medium compounds, and that 130.9 there from Siffy, well, if you find 2/10 on the softs, he's going to fly up into the top 3, and I think you'll probably find a little bit more than that. So those are a couple of drivers there to watch out for here. But like you said, the AlphaTauri S2000 flying down into sector 3. We'll see if there is, obviously, well, we didn't see any first lap from him after the invalidation early on.
Of course, big shout out to Sydney Trick coming in with the 2-month resub. Thank you very much for that, and greatly appreciate the support, of course. And well, 53 laps of Sochi coming soon.
S2000 P5, a 130.806 from him, not too far off of Yagswal's time, and just bumps Microlander down a place there as well. So definitely pace in the AlphaTauri here tonight.
Ben in that McLaren doing some heavy fuel runs, he noted in the chat earlier, and holy, a whole ton of gifted subs just coming through here from Sydney, and thank you so much for the support. That is Absolutely amazing. And we could not thank you enough for that, as we have Brownie, who has yet to set a time now. The German driver, a very quick driver, pushing through now out of turn 3 into turn 4.
Yeah, and Johnny Disco as well. He's doing his first flying lap on the SOT, as is Siffy, so we'll see what times they've done. Speaking of McLarens, Ben's crashed it coming out of turn 7. That is right in the middle of the track. That is going to impede anyone who's coming through there. And Brownie, yeah, he's had to drop the lap. Their car is right in the middle of the circuit. And that is really not ideal for anyone else in the session. You hate to see that, but that is going to cost many drivers here who were on sort of flying runs at this stage. Plenty of time to still get another one in, but in this middle stage, big headache there, not only for Ben, obviously retiring the car and without a fast lap in as well, considering those high fuel runs. Just making that mistake, coming in a bit cold, it would seem, but you know, that is what it is, and it's, you know, hurt the likes of Brownie here. I think it's hurt Siffy as well. One of these drivers having to slow down. There's a couple more who might have been affected. Microlander, I think. Well, he's on an outlap, so he'll be all right, but it's just a very unfortunate sort of timing there, and the crash to just bounce into the middle of the track. Well, you hope he doesn't do that in the race, because that would cause a real problem. Ben the Bear, current provisional pole sitter. He's out on the fly in the Mercedes, coming through that area that just had all of that congestion in it. As there's another yellow flag raised, and it's just in front of him, to be fair, and it's Noel Coleman facing the wrong way in the Williams. He's getting that spun around and was nicely tucked out of the way, though.
One thing, I just went P3. And here comes Freeware to the line. He goes P7 in the Red Bull to set a time through. The Axel right behind, currently starting a run. Back to Ben.
Yeah, he's already up over a 10th here. He just needs to nail this final sector, and it's going to be a really nice time here, but he's going to have to find a little bit more than that, because Vexit's just done a 129.9, and that's 3/10 faster than what's Ben's put down. What's it going to be from him? Ben goes 129.981, a pretty much identical lap time to the Ferrari. Wisp was there. He was crashed just out of the final corner. Luckily, it hasn't impeded Ben here, of course, but my goodness, that would have been bad. But Vexit and Ben neck and neck on the timing sheet right now. And I wonder whether we're going to see this continue throughout the night. I hope so, Shift, because
that's huge.
Whenever we have a battle like this, and between drivers of the caliber of Vexit and Ben, that is going to be one hell of a battle if we get that in the race. But 6 minutes left in qualifying as Neon goes third fastest to 130.367. So times started to crumble as Microlander comes in fourth fastest to 130.434, knocking that time from Yaya down, and things really starting to hot up here. What could Tuptus do? I think he's dropped the lap. He is going to come into the pit lane very well. He thought about it. He's not coming in. He sort of went back out again. So he's going to go around once more here, but not a great time for the Haas driver.
I was just checking with the other Haas driver of Brownie, and he went a little bit deep through turn 2, and now up to us with that invalidated run here. Both Ferraris 2 and 3. Neon right in front of Microlander. We saw it was 1 and 4 for the Mercedes. Neon slipping in. And a massive shout out to XTXP for the resub 3 months coming in, and Sydney for the 100 bits. And thank you so much for the support on this Saturday evening. It's endurance time. It is the 15th round of the endurance series. We're here in Russia. And thank you all for joining us. Of course, tell your friends, tell your family. It's MRL action. There's a lot of fun coming here. 53 laps around Russia ahead of what will be tomorrow's Russian Grand Prix.
Shift, we've had another crash. Tuptus on his sort of second run there on that set of tires. He's crashed it. He's come crashing out of turn 5 as four-door sedan goes 16th fastest to 132.395. So not an ideal lap from him, but he might be pushing again. But yeah, already 4 cars, and they've all crashed out of the session. And well, there's 53 laps here, and well, you don't want to be losing 4 cars within 18 minutes. That is not good. And well, hopefully they're, you know, just coming in a bit cold. But obviously now they've been sat in the pit lane for goodness knows how long, depending on what stage of qualifying they crashed in. So could be very difficult for them to get back into things. But hopefully they find a bit of rhythm in the race. Johnny Disco, I think, next to set a lap time. I believe his best is still set on the mediums. It is, as is Siffy's, as is Noel Carman's. But they had to be sort of careful coming through after the crash of, I believe, Ben in the other McLaren here as Johnny Disco comes down into the final sector. We'll see what he could do on the softs. It's a pretty competitive time on the mediums. He's 2/10 down on Siffy, but it's more important, where does he land on the softs here? He doesn't really have too much time left if he needs another run. The McLaren coming up to the penultimate corner now, turn 17. Through there, nicely using all the curb on the exit that he can. Now through the final corner, and it's P6 at 130.669 there for him. And just 300 ahead of Yaya. And again, another tight battle. You'll have to see that with Tuptus in there as well. And you can probably throw us 2,000 in as well.
DJ improving nearly half a second. It was 4/10 the improvement. Four-door sedan will be looking to improve. No, he will not. He will be moving into the pit lane. And that is not good for him. Sam pushing, it would appear, in the Alpine.
Oh, my mic was muted. There was a little bit of teamwork, I think, Schiff, between the two Alpines there. Siffy might have given his teammate a tow down the start-finish straight and coming down into turn 2 as well. I don't think it was too orchestrated, but I think it just happened to be sort of a happy little accident there for the pair of them. And we'll see whether that gives Tricksam a little bit of extra pace here, as he has Ben the Bear ahead of him here as he flies down. Ben on an outlap, so he'll just stay out of the way here of the Alpine, backs off and lets Tricksam go down into turn 13, their heavy braking zone. Now through into the final sector, just a few corners to go here. 15, 16 up next, and just going a little too close on the inside. Just about avoided the sausage curb, I think. Now 2 corners to go. 17, 18. Navigate 17 very nicely, not using all of the curb on the exit that he could get away with, but through the final corner, and it's P7 for him, a 130.692, a 1 second improvement from him. Very, very nicely done there. And the Alfa Romeo of Yaya's on the move through the final sector.
And is this grid ever tight right now, from first all the way down to 12th position? That is a 1 second gap. And who was that just came round?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Just losing it there. It's not the first Williams to be facing the wrong way in this session, as there goes Yaya. Just 3,000ths found, so very, very, very consistent from the Alfa Romeo. But doesn't move him up any positions. It got him close though for Tricksam. Ben the Bear, current pole sitter. He's on a 129.981, as is Vexit, both flying. Ben though about half a lap ahead of the Ferrari. The other Ferrari of Yagswell, he's also flying just behind his teammate. As Ben, he comes through out of turn 10 to see Tricksam facing the wrong way. So a lot of drivers still struggling here in the late stages of qualifying, and this is when the track is at its best. Ben, he's found just under 200ths of a second. He needs to find something here through the final sector. Vexit, he's not found a lot through sector 1 though, so still all to play for here between the two front runners. Can Yagswell, he's actually down coming out of sector 1. Not by a lot though, definitely an improvable margin still in this lap time for him. Well, it would have been had he not just invalidated. Ben the Bear now into the final corner. What's he going to produce? It is faster. It's a 1.5 improvement nearly, a 129.860. Does Vexit have the response though? He's down coming out of sector 2. He needs to find something majestic here in the final sector. Siffy, his only soft run here, 0.8 found for him in the Alpine, drops in between the two Ferraris, and there won't be another time from Yagswell, so he won't finish any higher than 4th. And Neon and Microlander could take advantage of that. What does Vexit have though? Coming out of the penultimate corner, 1 to go for the Ferrari. Here he comes through the final corner, and it's not P1. He actually doesn't improve, it looks like.
No, it was the exact same time as his last lap. He set the exact same lap.
It's 1,000th slower on my screen. I don't quite know if that's a glitch, but again, very, very consistent. If not, Neon's facing the wrong way. Mike Colander's coming into the pits. There's been a couple of incidents because there was someone facing the wrong way as well on the start-finish out of the final corner. Neon's got his car turned around. Four-doors to Dan. I think he's the last of the flyers in this case because Brownie's on the mediums going very slowly and invalidated. So it is just four-door, I think, who is yet to set their final lap time. The AlphaTauri, is there anything he can do? Currently 17th. Quite a margin. 4/10 he needs to get to IDJ for 16th position. But maybe just some unfortunate luck early on in the session. Here comes the AlphaTauri now into the final corner. Is there time to be found for him? And yes, there is. It is 16th place. He does just slot ahead of IDJ. And it looks like there was a retirement there.
Yeah, Siffy.
Freeware and Yaya have crashed into one another. I think Yaya was retired on the inside coming out of the final corner, and Freeware might have just run into him there.
Well, you take a look at this qualifying, 29.860, the pole time from Mr. Ben the Bear in the Mercedes. It was Vexit, 0.121, just a tenth on the rear of Ben. For the front row lineup, we have Siffy there on third position. And from first all the way down to 13th position, the separation in qualifying, less than 1 second.
Yeah, this is boding to be an exciting race, particularly up at the front. Ben the Bear, Vexit. There's a couple other people there in qualifying. Had a couple of problems in the last few laps that might be dark horses when it comes to the race, but it is Ben the Bear on pole. Ahead of course, Vexit there in the Ferrari. The Ferrari split, though, by the Alpine of Siffy, who came in 8/10 improved over his medium run. He only got one soft run in, but he did make it count on 130.1, putting him ahead of Yagswell, who invalidated his final run. Freeware. There was a few problems to the Red Bull at the end, but he still managed to claw into P5. Neon as well, facing the wrong way on his last lap. He finds himself in 6th. Mike Cronin in 7th. Yaya in 8th. Johnny Disco in 9th. And Trixam rounds out the top 10, and we'll go through everyone else in just a moment on the formation lap. Of which I don't think, Striff, we have a weather report for the race.
No, I don't recall getting a weather report for this round in Sochi. And of course, we are going to have, I think we're going to have a formation lap. We're using a different style of lobby here today. We're using the league system in game as opposed to just the create your own lobby system. And so now we are here in, of course, Russia for our 15th round of endurance, of course, following along with the Formula One World Championship, which is in Russia this weekend. And they'll be racing around here tomorrow as well, of course, and that's why we're here. I want to give these drivers a chance to give their crack at 53 laps around the Sochi Autodrome.
Absolutely, always a pleasure to follow along with the F1 calendar, and of course now, you know, better late than then, we do have Portimao in the game, so hopefully we can sort of get an excuse to test that one out at some point. And a few laps around there. It's a pretty very exciting track here in the game. As when we are loaded in, we do have 20 drivers on the grid, and there's a little bit of tire difference outside of the top 10. But before we get to those guys, we'll go for the top 10 again. It's Ben the Bear and a Vexit beating him out in a very, very tense battle for that pole position. But Ben getting the better of Vexit in the dying stages there. Siffy starts third ahead of the other Ferrari of Yagswall, with Freeware behind them alongside Neon. And it's Microlander in the other Mercedes with Yaya alongside him. Johnny Disco and Trixam round out the top 10. Then on the medium tyres, Tuptus starts 11th. He crashed out of qualifying late on, but did get a time in to secure that ever coveted 11th spot, starting on that free tyre choice as high up as possible. He starts on the mediums with S2000 alongside him, also on the yellow walled compound. Then we have Noel Carman in the Williams. He starts on the softs in 13th. His teammate right behind him, well, he's going to start on the mediums with Wisp as well in the Aston Martin, also on the yellow compound tyres. Four doors to that, he switches it up to, he starts on the softs in 16th with IDJ, Brownie and Ben all on the mediums behind him. And Blind rounds out this grid also on the softs. He didn't settle time in qualifying. He crashed out coming out of turn 4. Ben crashed out coming out of turn 7, I believe, and we had problems as well for a couple of the other drivers here. And well, there's 53 laps, and it's a long race, and we don't call it endurance for no reason. We typically do 50% league races here, though. When we follow the F1 calendar, it's 100%, and well, it's a lot longer than 18 minutes, Jeff, and hopefully everyone's sort of wrapped their head around the track in qualifying and
That's right.
shaking away the cobwebs.
Yeah, they need to make sure they have their heads on nice and straight now. Everything dialed in, everything tuned to perfection. Ahead of 53 laps here. It's going to be a very intense race start. It always is a very intense race start, coming through that near non-existent turn 1 kink as we push through into, of course, the second turn. Something has happened between the pair of Germans on the grid today, Brownie and Freeware, as they've both reset to grid. Ben as well. That's just not how you want to start things, but fortunately for them, it won't be that long of a wait, considering the entirety of the grid is approaching now, as Ben the Bear will assume his pole position.
Just waiting on one car there. It's the Alpine, I think, of Trixam. Yeah, it is. He's just coming through, and Brownie and Ben and Freeway all disqualified from the session. But they will be back. As the red lights sequence will start at any moment now.
And the Bear, Vexit, Siffy, your top 3 in the qualifying. Your front row, Ben and Vexit. 3, 4, 5 red lights on here in Russia. It is Sochi, and we are away racing. How is the launch off the line? Where is Vexit? Where is Ben? Ben gets away well. It's wheel to wheel for Siffy and Yags as we come through turn 1, and there's already been 2 retirements. I am not sure what to say about that. But that is going to be a safety car, and we already have 2 drivers out of this race. Ben with no front wing on that car.
Brownie as well. He's missing his front wing. Blind's got an end plate missing on the right-hand side. I don't quite know what happened there for them all to start that poorly. Johnny Disco, he started up in 9th, so I don't know how he's been involved and collected in all of this. I don't know whether he didn't get away or what's happened, but there's been problems. Wisp's gone into the rear of IDJ, it would seem, and he's got a 5-second penalty for that. And Toptus is missing his front wing too, and he's up in 12th.
Something tells me one of those.
Happened.
Something tells me Johnny Disco might have caused that if he's the car that dropped the most positions.
I don't think he started the race. I don't know whether it was on him or what, but Yaya's missing an end plate too. So without any evidence, you know, my guess would be that that McLaren just hasn't started properly, got a bad launch, someone's gone into the back of him and just caused a chain reaction. I don't think anyone's necessarily at a huge fault here, but it's just been a massive collection. It did say, you know, it's flat through there, but you know, if something goes wrong, it's a high-speed corner. The Royal Run is down into turn 2. I think just multiple cars that got collected there trying to find their way through the confusion. And well, for Johnny Disco and Yar, the worst possible outcome has happened. But the front runners, Yags got past Siffy, Neon and Microlander, they're up a place. Now we have with that Microlander into the pit lane, and I don't think there's damage on the Mercedes. I think this is just tactical, Chef.
Yeah, I think you're right here. I think he just wants to get in, and he's not the only one. Wisp decides the 5 seconds was required to jump into the pit lane, but that's on, you know, that's neither here nor there, as I think he needed to get a 5 seconds served after a collision with DJ under these safety car conditions. It's a very unique situation to find yourself under these safety car conditions at the beginning of a race. However, not the first time we've seen it happen here in Sochi. It's a very, I mentioned it earlier, it's a very intense first lap, and well, we don't really have a sense of what happened there in the midfield to cause that. We just know that Johnny Disco, who started this race in a very good position, and Yar are both out of this race here now on lap 2 as we follow the safety car. Ben the Bear and Vexit haven't moved. Ben the Bear had a good start off the line, and it was immediately Yags putting Siffy under pressure, and he's taken that position.
Yeah, and one quick thing to note as well, Jeff, I do believe this is the first time in MRL history that we've seen the Aston Martin safety car. I don't think we've been, you know, I don't think we've raced since it was added to the game, and there it is in all its glory, ahead of Ben the Bear, and it's nice that that's been added to the game, seeing it in the flesh there. It's a, you know, welcome addition, a nice bit of variety added and brings us, more realism. Obviously, we do have 2 safety cars this year in both the classic AMG Mercedes and also now that Aston Martin there, just in all its glory. And nice to see that, and nice to see that it's working properly as well at the moment. Ben getting nice and close, but it is still keeping it behind it. And I think we will go around another time just to let the likes of Ben, Brownie catch up, and there's a few stragglers as well down there in sort of from Knoll behind. And there's a pit coming out of Wisp, so he's getting rid of that 5-second penalty that he picked up the first time he came into the pit lane. So smart move. Obviously, he would have preferred to just avoid it the first time, but best to get it served. Gets onto a fresh set of softs too.
Wisp just trying to shave those penalties right now, taking the opportunity, and you know what? I can't blame him.
Yeah, it's just so much better getting rid of it in the pit lane. Brownie's come in as well, so I don't know whether he's just cycling tires there or whatnot, but the German coming out in the Haas now, and he should catch up hopefully before things, are set to resume. And I think the safety car will come in this lap.
I think he'll catch just fine there, Brownie. And we've got, so now, remaining for penalties on the board, we have DJ, who is yet to pit, Four-Door, who is yet to pit, and of course Wisp with 5-second penalties, as Wisp has come in and served 2 5-second penalties already in his 2 stops.
And you don't want to be picking up penalties early on like this. It is early doors here, and it's a long race. There's a few people jostling around at the back for position. I hope there's no sort of safety car let them by or whatever messages they want to be sending. But yeah, early penalties like this, it's going to haunt you in a race as long as this, because even if it's a 5-second, if there's a safety car later on and everyone decides that that's the time to pit, that 5 seconds is going to hold you up and really cost you time, especially if the pit lane's busy, starts getting you held, not just for 5 seconds, but you get the tires on and then you're held again. Safety car, also worth pointing out, isn't coming in. It's going around once more.
That's very bizarre to me.
Brownie's pretty much caught as well. I mean, he's not quite there, but
Tuss is on the way in.
Yeah, it's the Haas pit crew have been very, very busy over the last couple of laps.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Lap 4. I mean, I imagine
He's getting a new front wing. I don't know how he's damaged that on the safety car. He's just got a new front wing strip.
Well, better now than later. You don't want to be losing that performance most definitely on a safety car restart. Now he'll have the fresh mediums, and he will surely catch this grid as they're just pushing through into turn 4. What a race start. What a race it's been. We made it to, well, we didn't, did we not make it to turn 1 there? I don't think we even made it to the kink.
I think the leaders might have just made it, but certainly the issue was created before turn 1.
Yeah, I think that started a little bit before the leaders of the race made it into that right-hander. So we are going to have what I'll call an 18-driver race with a rolling race start, and 9 of the drivers have yet to pit. It's quite the interesting dynamic when 2 of them are on mediums. DJ and S2000 here, not in the worst position you could find yourself in given the soft runners ahead.
Yeah, here we go. Safety car is getting called in now. And, well, we wave goodbye to Aston Martin and say hello to Ben the Bear in the Mercedes leading things. And, well, he's got 2 Ferraris now behind him after Yags did get Siffy in that very brief period of racing we did have. But the restart here at Russia, pretty interesting one. There's a few options as to where to launch it.
Ben,
Go now.
Ben is a very, very constructive racer. Here he's going. He's gone. And I was just going to say, he has done these types of restarts before. I think back to Endurance Spa last season, where he caught the entirety of the grid by nearly a second here. He hasn't caught the grid super out, but he has given us a nice sizable restart here. Everyone around that 4/10 range. Ninth position right now. Here we go. 4-door sedan and DJ getting wheel to wheel. That's going to be the inside for the AlphaTauri. That's the car that you'll find DJ in on Mondays in the Tier 4 division. Yaya's right there as well. It's a very intense battle coming through turn 3 right now. Microlander has dispatched the AlphaTauri. Here goes a battle between Alfa Romeos, as it is going to be Yaya on the inside of his teammate. DJ dropping into 11th position now, still holding through now turn 5. Trick Sam.
Trick Sam now on his inside. He'll push through turn 6 and take that one. But what a bit of driving from Microlander to take both 4-door and IDJ there through turn 3, as IDJ falls even further down, and oh my goodness, blind into the wall. And he went up on my screen and he's found himself in the barrier out of turn 10. That was a huge crash for the Red Bull. And he finds himself with no front wing.
That was a major crash there, and I saw the exact same thing that you did. He went straight on into a wall. I'm shocked that he's still in this race, to be blunt.
He went 90 degrees on his side, and well, there goes Ben the Bear, fastest lap of the race, and pulling away a little bit from the 2 cars behind. But once DRS gets enabled, because we haven't had it yet and we're on lap 6, you know, if they're still within range, they will reel back in, down into turn 2, of course, and into turn 13 as well.
Yeah, under threat right now. Trick Sam looking for a move. He's looking for that outside line. Yeah, holding well through turn 2 right now, and it's going to be a really good exit for the Alpine. Does he have enough to get that car into a position where he can get a toe in on the Alfa Romeo right now? We push through into turn 4. He thinks better of it, and there is a yellow flag being sparked at the rear of this grid. It is going to be the McLaren of Ben, and he is going again. We'll check in with him in just a moment as we continue to watch defend against Trick Sam. And not only is he defending against Trick Sam, but he is doing everything he can to hold on with 4-door sedan. Now Neon has spun. Fast movers behind him coming through. He is going to try and get himself back on circuit. Wheel to wheel now. That is going to be pushing around the outside. Who is that? That was Trick Sam. Someone's got into him. What happened there?
I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. The 2 Alpines seem to have come together here. And I don't know whether that was as a result of Yaya and Neon going side by side and people just didn't quite comprehend what was going on, but it looked like there was just too many cars coming through turn 10. One's got squeezed on the inside, and it was a big hit into the inside wall, and as such, it sent the car spinning back out onto the track. I don't know whether the retirements as a result of the contact with the wall or contact with the other car coming through after the hit with the wall, but either way, we have lost Trick Sam here. Pit stops coming through for Vexit, Neon, and Wisp, so there's going to be a double stack there for Wisp in the Aston Martin garage. Vexit, though, that's an interesting call from him. He's going to come off of the softs and onto the mediums here, throw himself right down into the mix, and well, he's going to come out 13th behind Ben. And well, you mentioned it, we sort of forgot about it after that incident, but he came off coming through turn 3. I don't know whether there was contact with another car, but he just sort of spun out, went to the outside. No damage on the car, but he sort of hit the rear end on the wall, and well, there's no retirement and running reduced here, so you can only damage the front wings, and well, he'll be thankful about that, because if he could damage the rear wing, I think he'd be in a little bit more trouble right now.
This race has been something else so far here. We're on lap 7. We've got 3 drivers out, and Well, we're not sure if these retirements have been as a result of desync or what, because it has been a week. Really kind of ask yourself, was that legit? Or was that a netcode issue or something of that capacity? And of course, the grid is going to come together into a nice train once again, and we saw Ben the Bear in his restart last time. Are we shocked to not see him pit here, or do you think that he'll have enough on those tires to really push a good stint? Because now majority of the grid has pit.
I think he thinks he's got the pace in those softs to just sort of bring out a gap. And Ferrari, obviously, this isn't really a team game here in the endurance series, but they've got both strategies covered. If you look at it like this, you know, Vexit's just come in here, and you got Yags. He's still there to put pressure on Ben here. And then behind them, S2000. What a race he's had. He's up 9 positions, up into third on those mediums. And, well, with how, you know, these things work out, obviously, this is the endurance. The tires last a lot longer than they do in a normal 50% league race. But there will be a point where the mediums switch on as the softs don't. So when that sort of switchover happens that we always see, that AlphaTauri is poised to take huge advantage of him, provided Freeway doesn't get him early on here on the restart. We're going around one more time. You would imagine that blind catches by the end of this lap. And hopefully, well, we saw it last time we thought we were coming in. We might go green on lap 10. But, yeah, Ben, I'm not surprised he hasn't pit, because I think he doesn't want to get put in the traffic. It's a gamble for Vector, because if there's another one of these incidents where a car comes spiraling across the track and he can't avoid it, he's put himself in a dangerous bit of territory.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go and pit out of a safety car, you know, obviously a safety car pit is brilliant, but when it puts you back like this, it's not always the best course of action. I think Ben wants to just bring out a gap on the softs, potentially bring Yags with him, you know, unintentionally, of course, but it might happen. And then just pit when he's got a bit of a gap behind him, slot himself, you know, a bit more comfortably, somewhere about 7th, I should think, by the time things are all said and done, unless we see more safety cars in the next few laps. But yeah, I think Ben staying out is not a bad decision, but I also don't think that Vexit trying the different strategy here, I don't think that's an awful decision too. I just think it's a little bit more risky, depending on what we could see in terms of, you know, cars spinning across the track like we have done.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting restart here as well. Strategies are really shaken up and shuffled in this race. We're only on lap 8 out of 53. We're going to be going green flag, I'm assuming, on lap 9. Blind right now, trying to catch the grid, and he will do so in just a few corners as it's 15 seconds. 5-second penalties right now for 4-door sedan, DJ, and Blind on this grid. DJ has not pit yet, notably. When he does so, he will of course be getting rid of that 5-second penalty. 4-door sedan also has notably not pit. And we are going to have the safety car come in, which means Mr. Ben the Bear is back in charge of this racing grid at the front end.
Yeah, and the restart last time worked out pretty well for him. It wasn't, you know, anything too spectacular, but it did put a big gap further down the grid. So if he could do that again, that would be bad news for Vexit, because he would, you know, get stuck and there wouldn't be DRS straight away for him when it gets enabled once he's got through the initial part of the train that might form. Ben really slowing things down, though, is going for a little bit more of a different strategy here as everyone sort of backs up, and there he goes, fires it into the penultimate corner. That's worked much nicer for him. He's been a great gap between him as Yaya's gone round. He's already falling through this grid. I don't think he's brought anyone with him, though. That is good news for everyone else. Vexit already putting the work in, keeping Ben at base side by side through the final corner. They were, but Ben might have a look to try and come back here with a bit of ERS usage. He's going to look up the inside of the Ferrari, put these softs to work, even if they are 6 laps. Oh, Vexit goes later on the brakes. The McLaren's still there. There's a bit of contact, and they just about keep it going here as they come through turn 3 now. And Vexit's done very well there as Neon's going to steam up the inside of Ben, who just understeers. I think he's struggling with the setup tonight with the issues he's had. Seems to be struggling. Blind 3-second time penalty for him down in 16th. But Vexit and Neon definitely getting on a charge soon. And Siffy as well. He was quick in qualifying. We'll see if he can muster anything up. But he's got Ben on his own side through 6 into 7. Who's later on the brakes? It is the Alpine who stays ahead of the McLaren for now.
Very intense battling now as we push through Sector 2. Noel Carlman within 3/10 of four-door right now, and four-door has that 5-second penalty. He's on the older soft tires as well. Let's take a look now. The Williams pushing on the rear. He's not utilizing too much battery. Of course, everybody gonna have a good chunk of, well, he's utilized almost 30% when you think about it, but it is still mid-lap. Top Tusk coming through now on the rear of his teammate. He has Vexit behind him. Everyone in close proximity has Wisp now on the outside of Ben. This is tight. He's gonna push through around the outside. Ben on the inside holding with everything he's got. Blind is there as well. Top Tusk and Neon exchange for 11th position.
Yeah, top to there. Vexit went up his inside through 14, got forced to work wide, and then Neon took full advantage. Siffy now gets past his top into the pit lane here for the Haas, so he's back again, keeping those crew working hard there. Microlander on the rear of Freeway. He's not going to be able to get it done into turn 2, but holding well there.
No Carlman, very tight to four-door, but he doesn't pull the trigger. The exit is beautiful, however. He is going to look for that around the outside push into turn 4. Does he close the door coming into the turn? Yes, he does, and a very nice move there for him. DJ coming through. I don't know what happened there. It looked like a snap for him, trying to avoid the car in front of him. Somebody else had an issue there. Four-door sedan with a snap. I don't know what to say. I think they both, one snapped, the other reacted, and they both went around. Vexit on the rear of Neon right now. Neon on the rear of Brownie for 7th, and it's a very big tire differential between the Dutchman and German for 7th right now as well. Microlander within half a second of Freeware. Things very tight here on lap 10.
Yeah, and I think Vexit and Neon doing well to charge through this grid here. Neon now ahead of Vexit, though. That's going to cause a problem here for Vexit unless he can get past coming through turn 12 into turn 13. It's going to be side by side for the pair of them. Vexit on the inside. Neon's going to instantly look for the switchback here. Doesn't find it through 13. Tries to look for it in 14. Again, just fails to find it. And they got Siffy with them there as well. And you've got Brownie ahead, who is on the older tires. It won't be a huge difference now as Ben crashes, as race control enables DRS, and it gets instantly turned off with a VSC. I'm hoping that that doesn't get upgraded to a safety car, because that is miles away from where we're racing now. And speaking of miles away, Ben the Bear, 3.4 seconds his lead shift, but Ben, he's been struggling all day in that McLaren with the setup, it would seem. He's just running wide through turn 3, spins, was struggling in qualifying with the heavy fuel runs. Now out of this race, both McLarens out, 4 drivers out of this one, and well, not a good day at the office for them.
VSC deployed. Of course, these drivers are going to be watching that delta. You do not want to be in the red. If you're in the red, we could very well see you come through the pit lane.
Yeah, you don't want to be picking up a drive-through penalty. A very avoidable penalty, but then again, these guys, they're at the level where they don't want to be losing any, they don't want to be risking 2/10 to try and avoid a drive-through penalty. They want to be right on the edge, but again, it's a balancing act. You don't want to be too safe, but at the same time, you don't want to risk anything ridiculous. So there we go. It looks like we are away. No drive-throughs for anywhere.
Oh, was it ever tight between him and S2000 coming through the right-hander as it was front wing to rear tires, and now Freeware still there within 3/10. You can see the softs just, he still has a little bit of speed on these and a little bit of rubber to try and bring himself into range for an overtake here, and I think he might just have a crack as now Blind and Yaya are wheel to wheel. Blind with the quicker tires right now, a bit of a run wide. Back to Freeware, DRS is enabled, and you can see the charge coming out of the Red Bull right now. Hopefully his teammate doesn't race him too hard, and it's going to be a push through for the German into 3rd for the moment. But those softs are going to be with a ticking lifespan. Vexit and Brownie exchange.
Yeah, easy move for the Ferrari. DRS down the start finish straight into turn 2. We've seen that one time and time again, but obviously you need to make it work, and Vexit done it flawlessly there. And it is one of the easiest overtakes on the calendar, but like I say, you have to get it done before turn 2, and you got to know when to drop out of it if it is too late. But Vexit, no problems for him, and that puts a bit of gap between him and Neon as well, because Neon, if he could find a way past Brownie before turn 13, ideal, but he needs to get through on the Haas into 13. But again, the tire differential not huge between the two here. Brownie's tires obviously 8 laps compared to 4, but in a 100% race, that's not completely ridiculous in the sense of a medium tire at least. As the battle for third place rages on, there's going to be no exchange there. Does Neon find Brownie? I don't think he will. He's going to have to go into turn 2. Meanwhile, Vexed already having caught up to Noel Coleman. That's for 6th place. And again, already putting pressure on. And this is brilliant news on his strategy. He hasn't got caught up in any chaos further down the grid. Noel looks to be struggling a little bit, and Vexed just pushing through, trying to find a way, putting pressure on that Williams here as they come through out of the final corner. Neon's going to have a great run on Brownie here, but Vexed's going to have a run on Noel as they both set fastest laps here. And here we go, DRS. No, just going to slip straight through around the outside of turn 1. Easy as you like there. Done well before turn 2. Neon doesn't look like he's got the run on Brownie here. So that's going to hold him back even more. There's now 2 cars between him and the Ferrari. And that is bad news for the Dutchman. And Vexed will just slip away into the distance and really look to chase down the leaders because, well, there's only 1 car ahead of him who's actually pitted, and that's Microlander in 5th place.
It's a very intense battle right now, and the big question I have is where you're going to find Ben the Bear once he ends up pitting, pushing through traffic. Is he going to have a nice time the way Vexed has? And Vexed, as you mentioned, he really hasn't gotten caught up with any issues in this charge through the field. And now I'm going to jump on with Microlander. You mentioned him. He does have that DRS on the rear of S2000. We saw S2000 and freeware exchange, but I think Microlander is about to get involved. There goes S2000. Here goes Microlander. Does he go for freeware? He thinks better of it. Freeware trying to hold with S2000. Does this bring him under major threat from Microlander? I think it will in the long haul. Look at how much Microlander is having to really adjust to what's going on in front of him. I think if he just gets a clear read on what's going to happen with this Red Bull, he is going to be able to pull the trigger and follow through at that AlphaTauri.
And Neon tight to Brownie as well. Looks for it through final sector, but it's not going to find it. And it's going to be Microlander. I think it's Vexed. There's another fast lap. He is really charging in that Ferrari, but I think where the moves are going to be found is this battle for 3rd place as Neon, well, he does find his way past on the as easy as you like, and well, no moves exchanging up at the front of things. Freeware still feeling the pressure though as they come through turn 3. Microlander looks to the outside. Does he find anything late on the brakes into turn 4? It'll be a big lunge and he doesn't go for it. Just backs out of that. Yaya 3 seconds. Freeware wide coming out of 4th. And does he find anything into 5th? No, it's not to be for the Mercedes. He's just being patient here, and you love to see that from a driver, but at the same time, doesn't want to get held up.
Neon and Noel, I just wanted to check in with them as they're quite tight. They've got Brownie and Siffy for, of course, they have to deal with them behind them. 7, 8, 9, and 10, all very close in contention. And we saw Noel giving Neon a bit of a squeeze coming through 5.
Microlander,
yeah, with a clean push.
No DRS or freeware. He had it down into turn 2, doesn't have it this time. Neon gets past Noel in a similar fashion. Again, no DRS for the car in front. Now, Microlander has to work out a little bit because now he needs to push back into the gap of S2000, and he might not have it here, and that might just lead to freeware coming straight back past, depending on
he's got
how
very,
much
very
those tires
window.
have got. Yeah, those tires are gone. He's coming into the pit lane.
Microlander, S2000, that window, very, very tight right now. You can see he needs to get DRS, and he does not have it. Meanwhile, S2000 does have it on Yags, and he will be closing down that gap with major momentum. Look at the time drop, and you can see it just as soon as that time started to plummet between Yagsol and S2000. Microlander 1.3, and it is narrowing just a touch as we come through turn 3, but Microlander, he needs to push to get back into that DRS before it's gone for good. He does have another opportunity when Yags is potentially overtaken here, but if Yags pits, Microlander's in trouble.
Yeah, I think the front 2 are coming in this lap. I see no reason for them to stay out any longer. This is a problem for Blind. He's spinning around a little bit. Not quite sure how he's managed to do what he's done. Well, there's another spin for him as he comes through turn 4. So tires overheated here, just trying to get out of the way here. But yeah, I see the front 2. I think they're going to both come on, get off of those softs. I imagine Fordos the Dan will be thinking of it as well. He's down in 12th though. But yeah, I think, S2000 will be leading this race. in a few moments as Yaxwell and Ben come in, and Yax emptying the battery here, pushing a little bit. And I'm surprised to see him doing that because, like I said, I think he's going to come in here, follow Ben into the pit lane. Diffie Brownie exchange.
And the bear coming in. Yags following suit, and you hit the nail on the head there. And I think Freewer also, of course, playing a little bit of a role. I want to see where he drops out compared to these guys. S2000 now in lead of things. 15 lap old mediums, soon to be 16 lap old mediums, as Microlander is within DRS range. Vexit is right here, and he is going to push down that left-hand side of the Mercedes. Microlander, well, he can't go nearly as late on the brakes as Vexit, and now, well, Microlander 2/10 holding with Vexit as Vexit pushes on for lead of the race.
Yeah, great call for Vexit so far to come in on the first safety car, as Ben now finds himself in 10th place, and well, I don't think he'll drop any further as he exits the pit lane, so he is still in the points, but you know, there's a big gap there now, and we'll see. I don't think these 8 laps on the mediums for Vexit are going to cost him too much to Ben, so we'll see how things work out for the Austrian later in the race. But Vexit now on the rear of S2000, and well, this is interesting because S2000 now remains one of 2 drivers yet to pit, the other being four-door sedan all the way down in 13th on starting softs. And well, the mediums, they'll still be feeling all right as Vexit gets very close, misjudges the braking big time, and now Microlander is going to come side by side through the final sector. Vexit, well, he's not too happy about that, and he's going to keep holding on to P2, but mistakes like that, it's going to cost him time and tire wear as well. So he needs to avoid doing that, you know, many times, because that will just grind his tires all the way down.
I think Vexit maybe and Microlander have the potential to dispatch this S2000 right now, at the very least Vexit. He's not utilizing too much battery, and nor should he. Look at the speed carrying coming out of this Ferrari. Oh!
Big snap to get him into the line he needed, and now Microlander's going to have a look up the inside through turn 3 on the Avatar. There's not going to be a lot of space here, and he's going to get boxed in as they come through into turn 4. He's side by side though with S2000, who gets the better exit. It is Microlander. He does go through, but does S2000 go bold on the brakes into turn 5? He tries, but just doesn't find it here. And well, they're still side by side as they come through 6 into 7. And this is a monumental battle between the two. S2000 retakes the position, but they're still side by side as they come through 8 and 9. S2000 running a little wide here, and as a result drops back behind Microlander. And this has been bad for the pair of them, as Vexit now stands 1.3 seconds ahead. No DRS to worry about. And he is just absolutely cruising out in front now. They will probably catch a little bit with DRS, but if they fight again, going to give Vexit all the breathing room he needs, and this is bad not only for these two but for the likes of Ben the Bear and Yagswall as well.
Yeah, I think that the breathing room is there now. He's got 1.5, and it's on a driver who has very, very old tires. You can see it. Look at this coming through the 90-degree turns. The grip differential is just, it's a night and day. It's absolutely night and day. Look at this gap now. Nearly 2 seconds coming out of Vexit. Microlander is going to be less than pleased, and now it's DRS for him. A little bit of squeeze coming out of S2000 there. I don't know what that was, but he is going to be overtaken for second position. Neon 2.5 on the rear of the AlphaTauri now, and closing with Siffy and Brownie in tow.
And it's a little bit of a quiet spell now in the race as we wait for sort of the next phase of pit stops. The Siffy goes very wide coming out of turn 4 there. I think that's probably just a 1-lap mistake, but you don't want to be doing that, and you don't want that to be as a result of any tire wear as well, because again, those are the tires, they need to go a lot longer than 10 laps for him to be useful. As there's a yellow flag popping up, it's an AlphaTauri 4-door sedan. Well, he's taken these tires 17 laps. I'm not surprised that he's facing issues. Does he have a puncture? It doesn't look like it, but he must be close.
Line now, we'll be looking to catch up with him. Blind did not have a good time. We saw him going to the wall earlier.
Yeah, and we, about a third of the way through, I think, is probably a little bit inaccurate there, but a good race so far, and things very, very calm at the moment. People that have settled into that rhythm that we said in qualifying that they need to find here just to get settled, just to find that rhythm, so that you need to get through the race. You have to get through to the end if you want any chance of scoring points, scoring a win, of course. And Vexit right now doing very well to command things at the front, but everyone will settle into that rhythm. There's not too much overtaking going on. Ben the Bear, of course, he's picking up the pace, hunting down the likes of Yaya. He'll be going for Wisp as well on these fresh mediums as Fordor and Blind exchange, as Fordor is coming into the pit lane now in that AlphaTauri, finally getting off of those starting softs.
Brownie within half a second, of course, of Siffy, and he has been for some time, just following in on this train behind Neon. And that gap, notably to Noel Carlman, has extended while he has been able to maintain DRS range on, of course, Siffy. We mentioned Neon there. He just goes quite wide. That could have exposed him to Siffy a little bit if I think Siffy was pushing very hard. But Neon has been slowly just narrowing that gap to the S2000. Driver in third position right now, 18 lap old mediums. His starting tires, when do we see the switch come out of him? It's a very interesting race given the safety car shakeup. We've also had a VSC in this race.
Yeah, and the last few laps have been pretty clean as well. Slightly different to the first few where there was a bit of chaos going. And again, that's just sort of as a result of things being split up a bit as Ben the Bear gets very close to Yaya, who clips the sausage curb through 16, feels the pressure of the Mercedes looming behind him and just loses out. Big time Ben will be thanking him for that. He will lose DRS though, so maybe this hurts Ben a little bit more than it helps him, but they won't have lost any time through Sector 3, and he's not even fretting about the fact that the Alfa Romeo has DRS behind. He's got such a better exit out of the final corner. Doesn't phase him. And they will now push to find Wisp. There's a 9-lap differential in the tires there.
Here goes Top Tuss. Looking for DJ now. DJ 13th position, now 14th position as Top Tuss in the Haas will push through. And it's a clear-cut move into that position with the use of the DRS. Jump back on over to Siffy on the rear of Neon. Neon 1.9 on the rear of S2000, who has notably kept DRS with Microlander.
It's important to do these things at this stage of the race. You don't want to be dropping out of DRS. You want to be clinging for as long as possible to that 1 second window because it matters, especially on these long straights. The 2 DRS zones, a lot of time to be found there as Microlander. Well, he will have it on Vexit here. So as S2000 just drops out, he's pushing. He knows it. He knows he wants to be within that 1 second range. He gets it again. Vexit into the pit lane.
Very interesting. Very interesting to see that come out.
Very short stint on the mediums.
No DRS for S2000 right now. Siffy on the rear of Neon. Let's see how that gap drops now that DRS...
Vexit's getting a wing change.
Oh my.
What has happened to Vexit?
Chat saying he apparently hit a desync car.
Well, that is unfortunate. I don't think anything of the sorts happened on my screen. It didn't look like there was yellow flags or anything popping up. So if that is the case, well, we've had a pretty smooth sailing so far, but well, unless of course lap 1 was caused by desync, but maybe this isn't the brilliant fix that we hoped it would be, but it has been working so far so good, as it were. But hopefully Vexit's race hasn't been brought crumbling down by a desynced car, because he was having such a good campaign.
Siffy on the rear of Neon. Neon into, of course, third position now. 2.2, 2.3 to gap to him and S2000, so he really hasn't been able to bring that down as long as S2000's been able to maintain DRS. There was a moment where he didn't have it, but surely he's got it once again as he is within half a second. Now Ben the Bear will push ahead into 7th on those fresher mediums ahead of Wisp. And Yagswell on the same tires as Ben the Bear will, I imagine, be looking to catch up with the Swede very, very soon. Brownie just dancing in and around that 1 second on Siffy. It's been very interesting to watch Brownie hold well with Siffy, because when you look at Noel Carlman, that gap has just been extended and extended and extended between Brownie and Noel. Very good drive here from Brownie. Especially when you consider, I think he started this race with a wing change.
Yeah, after lap 1, I believe he was missing the whole thing. So, a great recovery drive. And again, it's sort of the beauty of endurance that early incidents, whilst they do hamper your chances, they don't spell the end by any means. And, the safety cars, they bring people back into things as much as they usually mean that someone else has fallen through the rankings. But Brownie now clawing his way back up through the field like you're mentioning, and really on with a great shot at a potential podium here if he plays his cards right. And a little bit of luck along the way, well-timed safety cars might help, etc. But right now, 5th place, looking very, very good. Ben the Bear, Noel Coleman. Ben slipping through there, nice and easy. I'll take that one every day of the week.
Yeah, there's really nothing else that can be said or done there for Noel, and it's just going to be okay. Have at it. You look at the tire differential, 14 laps, nearly 15 laps. It's a tall order to try and defend against that type of push with DRS, and so you just let that driver go through. You don't cause any issues, and you try to maintain DRS yourself for the next few turns, and that's what he needs to do crucially here to hold himself against Wisp, who's 2.4 behind. Does he have it? You can see that gap. Well, he doesn't have it, so this isn't good for him. He is within that 1 second, so he can very well get it again. But now, one thing to note, Wisp and Yagswell, they exchange. Yagswell through into 8th, getting the Swede. But I did want to bring our attention to the front end, because Microlander, 20-lap-old mediums, S2000 with the 22-lap-old set. They have now been joined into the train with Neon, Siffy, Brownie. And so things are about to get very, very interesting for these front 2 medium runners who have been up there for some time now.
Yeah, and this train, it is going to be mostly for position as well. The tires are different as Yaya and Freeware exchange further down. Again, tire differential there. But they're not so different that it's going to be a huge night and day for the overtake, as S2000 goes through. DRS helping him out to take lead of things in the AlphaTauri once more. But yeah, these are all fighting for positions. Their pit stops might come on slightly different laps, but because of the pit stops, the guys on older tires who are leading things right now, they could go for an undercut, and that would force the other drivers in this chain to pit a bit earlier than they want to, and that would hurt their stint. So there are games to be played on both sides of the coin here, and it's not necessarily a bad thing for everyone. Siffy just sliding out of the final corner there. Again, saw him run ride coming out of turn 4 a few laps ago. Now a problem out of the final corner. And the final corner is an important run as Microlander squeezes through on the inside to retake lead of things on S2000. Very nicely done there for the Mercedes. Does anyone want to fight back through turn 3? It's going to be Microlander versus S2000 into turn 4. Does the AlphaTauri go for the lunge? No, he doesn't. Neon's right there on the rear, though. Really looking for things in an Aston Martin, but again, not quite finding what he needs.
If I was Brownie, if I was Brownie on that last lap, I come into the pit lane. I think he goes for an undercut of some kind on these guys, like Microlander and S2000. He's got Neon and Siffy. I don't know, it's an interesting situation he's finding himself in. Brownie, 20-lap-old mediums, sitting in 5th.
Yeah, it's going to be, a long drawn-out race here as we're approaching the halfway mark.
It's a great fight right now, though, I have to say. You take that 3-second penalty out of it for Microlander, it's a great fight.
Very, very tight. Yeah, they're just going to wait a little bit longer. I think these tires can go further. You know, we saw, 17 laps, I think, from the softs. You got Tuptus there on 15 laps.
If a 3-second time penalty added to his finish, so that will not be good for him in a good running right now.
No, Yikes, well, the exchange there, and Yikes just following through with Ben a little bit, 4 seconds down the road nearly, but he is on for a great finish here in that Ferrari, especially with the exit. And speak of the devil, the other Scuderia goes through on Yaya, and Yaya struggling to find his way through turn 2 with the Ferrari coming up his inside.
I loved his escape road there. He just dropped throttle and said, I'll slow down a bit and keep going.
He thought about it.
He thought about it, and he's like, nah. He's like, nah.
Exit, he's really torn away there at a rapid pace. And Siffy now, he got that 3-second penalty. I think he's really struggling, Striff. I don't think his setup is where it needs to be, maybe in terms of time management, but he's struggling to stay within the DRS range to Neon ahead, and he's got Brownie barking up his gearbox. He doesn't want to drop here at this stage because it would be catastrophic for his race. But again, if he does drop out of that range, permanently, he has to trigger the undercut. He really does, I think, as he drifts again, slides into the grass coming into the final corner. He is struggling big time.
Neon pushing on S2000 right now. S2000 runs to rears for him. He is going to try and hold. Well, there's not much he can do to hold, but I'll tell you something. He has a ton of battery. And now we've had an issue coming through turn 6 and 7. That is the Red Bull of Blind.
And the flag is takes as soon as a Red Bull. You say Blind just getting himself righted around, and again he just spins again. This is the second time that's happened in this race. He just doesn't quite navigate the hot tires, as he needs to, and spins the second time.
Everywhere, clean navigation for 9th position through on Wisp, and he'll be happy to be into another point-paying position.
Yeah, Wisp there, with that time penalty to his name. There's a few penalties up and down the grid, but not too many. That might change, of course, as we are sort of pretty much bang on that halfway mark, halfway through lap 26.
Yeah, there's been some good battling going on in this race. It's been a very good campaign here, a solid campaign here in Sochi.
It felt very much, like a race. Felt, very grounded in how it's gone. Obviously, the start a little bit chaotic, but ever since, very, very sensible driving from everyone is what we want to see. As we come through, turn 3 now with the leaders, and still this train. Brownie, actually, the car that's ended up dropping off of it, and with his tires. You'd think that wouldn't be surprising considering Siffy's ahead of him, but you've got S2000 and Microlander in there on older tires than Brownie, so the Haas maybe struggling a little bit here. The flag again, and I think this might be the Red Bull of Blind again. And it is, just parked off on the inside, coming out at 8 and 9.
Siffy utilizing a lot of battery on exit now, pushing on the rear of S2000, but he isn't exhausting that battery. You can see him just dancing in and around that 5% range. Neon just within 3/10 of course, Microlander for the lead of this race. Microlander holding on to a 3-second time penalty. S2000 on a major stint right now with his tires, looking like he might just be overtaken. Here's Siffy certainly giving him a look, but not enough to get the move done. Microlander into the pit lane. Neon will now come and take charge of things here in the front end of the grid.
Yeah, I said someone was going to trigger the undercut, and Microlander doing nicely there, and that's going to undermine the strategies of Neon. Siffy And the other two would have pitted sooner rather than later anyway. So the only fight really going on in this grid is this fight for the lead, but it will get a little bit hotter in a minute when Ben the Bear, who's just 3.6 seconds down the road now from these front runners, as Vexit picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Ooh. That is a tough position to find yourself in. 3-second time penalty. Of any capacity when you're in a potential run for...
Oh, Blinds crashed. That was a very short VSC.
Well, that is going to shake things up in a very, very large capacity now. That's for certain. Neon will be leader of the race. Do we see him come in for a new set of mediums? I imagine we do. Let's see now what he will opt to do here. It doesn't look like he's coming in. Oh, and he will. Microlander, who has just come into the pit lane, will be not thrilled. Well, unless everybody pits and he gets lead at things. So far, everybody's pitting. So, Microlander may be okay here. To some degree. That delta is going to hamper him dearly. Let's see where he lands. Microlander now will push through ahead of a multitude of cars, and Neon will come out on the rear of Vexit. Siffy there with him. S2000 has really come through into a clutch position here. However, the softs do... Well, that's a very interesting question. The softs. Yeah, as well on the same tire. All right, now, see here. Taking a look at penalties. Penalties can always play a major role here in these races when you get safety cars. Of course, you have Senegal with 12 seconds in penalties. Not where you want to be finding yourself. Microlander with 6, and then the rest of the drivers with penalties. Vexit, Siffy, Wisp, as well as DJ, all with 3 seconds. DJ having served a 5-second penalty earlier. Unless I think actually he just served it. Very interesting race we've had here in Russia. And the Bear, let's take a look at the position changes, has dropped back 6 positions. Ben the Bear in the Mercedes. You can see Microlander has made up 1 after a very long stint. That really kind of, he came in, safety car comes out. It's a very difficult situation to find yourself in. His rival for this evening, I have to say, was S2000, and he is now in a good position in 4th. But on the softs, you can see Vexit up 1, Neon up 4. Siffy remains in 3rd, holding station well. S2000 is up 8 positions, while Brownie is up 13. What a drive from the German, and you have Microlander up 1. And the Bear, he has dropped 6 positions. And you have Yags there dropping 4. Noel is up 4. Freeware is down 5. We have Wisp up 4. And it's Yeah down 4 positions into a 12th. Tuptuss down 2. And it's DJ up 3 with 4-door up 1. We have 5 retirements. Blind, Ben, Trick Sam, Johnny Disco, and DR.
Yeah, lap 30, 53, and 5 drivers are out of this one. You know, still a way to go in this, but we are over that halfway mark, and you know, behind the safety car, It won't be long until we get restarted, but we are waiting. Of course, IDJ now into the pit lane. What's he going for? He's onto a fresh set of mediums, so he'll be going to the end on that tire. And I think most people will be trying to go to the end on their current tire. The likes of S2000, yeah, they're going to be hard stretched. And Vexit, what's his plan to get to the end of this race? He could probably stretch those tires to the end, but what will they be feeling like when he gets there? That's the real question, because, well, maybe he's able to get in. Another safety car could see him come in for Salt, but he's going to have his work cut out. He needs a good race restart here, and he's definitely got that in his locker, capable of doing so. He just needs to execute on it. We'll see whether he does something we've seen before in this race. Ben the Bear has already opted for a couple of spots to restart from, just out of turn 16. Going out of 17 as well. There's plenty of options here. You could do it just before the start finish straight as well, coming out of 18. All manner of options for the lead car to try and break up the train in their favor, of course. And Neon right there, tight to the rear of Vexit. He's done very well to get into P2 with those fresh tires. But as we will be going around once more, as again, four-door sedan IDJ haven't caught the train back, but after this lap, I imagine we will be going back to green flag racing on lap 32.
Exit Neon Siffy. Man, oh man. 31 out of 53. It's been a great race, I have to say, compared to some of the endurance races past that we've had. Well, we have a heck of a lot of drivers on the grid right now. Knock wood. Knock wood, Unicorn. Knock wood.
Yeah, you want to see as many people finish these races as possible, of course. And so far, you know, pretty much so good. I mean, bearing in mind we lost 2 people on the first lap. It's really been 3 retirements in 31.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say that scared the heck out of me.
Qualifying as well. You look back to qualifying and see how many retirements we had there. Everyone sort of picked themselves up and really come back, you know, stronger in the actual race. And it is where the points are scored. You don't get points for qualifying, of course.
And the Bear absolutely rapid today, as we've seen him through in Russia before. I remember watching him race here in the OCE division of Season 3 MRL. And, well, what a race it was around here. He's currently holding the fastest lap at 33.951 in 7th position, the Thai driver.
And we should get that message any moment now from race control.
This is the 3rd full safety car of the evening. We've had 1 VSC, of course, and it's been a very dynamic race. We were expecting rain in this race, but we opted to work on testing out the league racing setting versus what we normally do, and unfortunately we have seen some issues as well with that, so we'll have to kind of, well, we have a whole week of racing coming ahead for Suzuka. Round 6 MRL action resumes this coming week, just as this race is about to resume. However, we won't be in Russia. We already went to Russia. We're going to be in Japan.
Yeah, Suzuka, great circuit. Very excited to see how that one plays out. And again, plenty of opportunity there for rain as Vexit restarts the race, and Neon and Siffy very, very close together already, and Yags and Ben going side by side of the Mercedes. You expect him to go forwards. He's actually gone backwards on the restart here. He drops down to 8th place, but that was before start-finish line, so we'll see whether the game has any queries about that. Doesn't look like it will, though, as the leaders charge down into turn 2. Nothing exchanging yet, as most people seem to be settled in.
The game isn't giving him any queries, but
oh my
sure
days,
is.
I don't know why I've just watched. Freeware was not on my screen, and then he was, and was inside IDJ's car for a second. It doesn't look like he does anything.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Unicorn. It's just fronts to rears between Siffy right now with S2000, and Neon picks up a 3-second time penalty. I have to say this is paying out very well for Brownie and S2000 here. You see Ben the Bear on the rear of Yags, not happy losing that 7th position.
Yeah, really trying to find his way back through here, but it's going to be a while till DRS gets re-enabled, and he wants to charge his way through this field because he needs to challenge the likes of Siffy and Neon. He just needs to get within their penalty range if he wants to win this race, and we'll see what happens as Siffy gets passed by S2000 on those fresh softs. He needs to make use of those tires. I don't think they're going to the end drift, so we'll see what he does as he sort of slides through turn 15.
Well, he didn't have an option to go to mediums. He, I think, ran that set the entirety of the race, so when you look at it, these softs, he has to make them last. He has got to pit again otherwise.
It's a very tricky position for him to be in. As Wisp picks up a 3-second time penalty. I believe that's to add to already existing. It's 6 seconds for him now. There's freeware 4 doors to Dan exchange for 13th place. They're side by side. Coming down into turn 2 freeway though. Much more confident on the race later as there's a car on the inside. Tuptus. The freeway's just taking 3 seconds avoiding that car. Yeah. I'm not sure what's happened to the Haas there, but interesting place to be stopped.
Could have been a curb. Spin on the curb. I don't see any visible damage on the car. Microlander on the rear of Brownie. We saw Microlander pit the lap ahead of the safety car. And S2000 really got the upper hand out of that exchange. And right now, Microlander on the rear of Brownie and on the rear of Siffy. And a little bit of a train for 4th position. Yags, Ben the Bear, everyone's here. And if they blink, if they make a mistake, it's going to be a very, very unfortunate situation they'll find themselves in. Brownie's within 3/10, Microlander's within 3/10. Yags just dancing in and around that half a second range.
Yeah, everyone being very, very patient in Russia. We said there was, overtaking opportunity. We've seen it, but everyone playing it very, very cautiously. I think they've seen, how useful getting to the end is in these races, and everyone's playing ball with one another. You've got this bit of a train starting to form in the middle. The front 3 running away. The front 2 specifically. Neon and Vexit have pulled the gap, and that's surprising given S2000 on those softs as Brownie gets past Siffy for 4th place.
Yeah, neat move there. Not a lot that could be done. Nice clean overtake for Brownie. Now Siffy under threat from Microlander. Microlander was eyeing up just narrowly that inside of turn 4, but he thought better of it.
Yeah, again, just great, to see the drivers exercising that little bit of patience. And we always say, that separated some great drivers out from the rest of the field in the past, just knowing when to go for a move, but also knowing when not to go for a move. Got to be in it to win it, of course. And this tire situation equalizing out really hasn't done Ben any favors.
Here goes Microlander now. Pushing Siffy. Surely this is an overtake now. Siffy later on the brakes. That's a huge lunge. He's going to go straight through the turn. And that will be both Brownie, Microlander, and Yags will take positions from the Alpine. He had a huge lockup. He went straight through the turn.
Yeah, respect to him for giving the positions back.
Yeah.
He really didn't need to, but considering he got that 5-second penalty, but he's giving them back anyway. He's not going to be taking those places, unfairly in that manner. Really misjudged it. Neon now. Can he find a exit into turn 2? No, he can't. The Ferrari is still leading things in the battery. Similar between the two. Ben the Bear, well, he is trying to make positions. Doesn't find it, and he will take the full escape route. Absolutely obliterates one of the signs, telling him where to go. Noel Coleman on the outside takes 1. Does he take 2? He's going to try it around the outside of 3 into the inside of 4. There's a bit of contact between the Alpine and the Williams does not get past Siffy, and now finds himself under pressure again from Ben the Bear, but Ben not finding his way through there.
Very intense racing right now at the front end of this grid. Very intense racing at the rear end of the points. Paying positions. There goes Siffy. No, that's Noel Carlman. That is Noel Carlman looking the other way. Freeware and Yaya come through now. Some more fast movers pushing on. That is going to be 4-door sedan and DJ to the rear now of the Williams. Jump into Neon, looking for Vexit. Nothing doing just yet. The Ferrari still holding lead of this race. There's 3 seconds to the pair of these drivers, and it's all about position for these two at the end. And can they push away enough of a gap to hold on to these 2 positions ahead of S2000 on the softs? Vexit on the oldest tires of the trio.
Wisp are side by side through sector 3, and they're going all the way as Wisp gets a little bit of contact from the Alfa Romeo, who's going to get past by Freeware. He takes full advantage of that fight, takes both of them, and all this contact between, again, the Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo. Amazing to keep that one at the wall. Vexit finally gets passed by Neon. He's been building that one up for a few laps with the DRS, but you know, I would not be surprised to see him get back into leader things before the end of the race, but it's just a case of who's there at the checkered flag.
Wisp, wheel to wheel through turn 2. A little bit of contact as we saw earlier. Wisp trying to get things corrected as he pushes back through turn 3. Charging that Alfa Romeo's rear end with that battery. The Aston Martin not happy. He wants to push through the soft runner right now, showing some good grip, some good pace to hold back the Swede. 15 seconds in penalties for though, Unicorn, and Siffy himself has 13. They've really started to accumulate some major seconds on the board.
Yeah, and that can, really hurt towards the end of the race. Michael Anna was 6 seconds. That's going to drop him Yags and Ben at the end of the race if they don't get passed on track. So, and it prevents him from, overtaking Brownie, really, and S2002. So, these penalties, they're going to play a big role at the end here. It could really shake up the podium as well. It's only 3 seconds for Neon and Vexit, so with the lead they've got already, I think they'll be all right. As Wisp continue their exchange.
That was a nice move for Wisp, but with a switchback opportunity with the grip on the softs. Wisp says, I don't care about your switchback. I want that outside line. It's going to be back through the inside. A little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel rubbing there. Getting 10th position and holding 10th position from Wisp once again. But all of this battling has been costing them dearly to Freeware ahead. Nearly 3 seconds is the gap for them. We move ahead to Brownie on the rear of S2000. It is the medium runner starting to find a little bit of tire. Well, he's got a bit of a tire advantage over that AlphaTauri, I think, from this point to the end of the race. So much exchanging right now. Wisp and once again into turn 2 right now. You have Tuss and Noel Carlman battling it out. Back to as he's on the rear of Wisp. Thought maybe a cheeky shot to the inside might have been on the menu. Well, Tuptus had that in mind, and Noel Carlman said no.
Yeah, there's been a problem further down. Tuptus facing the wrong way out of turn 4.
Yeah, that's rough.
But no damage. But he is so far back now.
On the rear of Wisp as Vexit and Neon continue their duel. Less than half a second the separation as they are building that 3-second gap they need to S2000. Oh. And there goes Brownie. What a move coming out of Brownie. He gets that AlphaTauri, and I think he not only got him, but I think he opened him up to the Mercedes as well.
Well, Micronada tapped the rear of S2000 as Yagswall is facing the wrong way. But yeah, a little bit of a chaotic sort of exchange there as Yagsol continues to lose positions as he fights his way back onto the track.
He just put himself right in Wisp's way, and that is just not what you want to see happen. Vexit is now going to overtake Neon as that duel for the lead continues. S2000 Microlander in a very tight fight right now. 3.7 seconds. One thing to note is the gap between Brownie and Neon. He has no penalties.
And also worth pointing out the gap between Brownie and Vexit's, just because Vexit's tires 6 laps older than Brownie's, double the age of Neon's. They're going to struggle to get to the end of the race, so we'll see how that works for him, but could get very tricky. Here goes Neon. It's a great push. I don't think he's going to find it here into 13. He won't.
Watching a nice wheel-to-wheel battle between DJ and Sedan there for just a moment as we jump back to the front end. And Yags. They have an exchange as Microlander is tight to the rear of S2000 still. penalties in it for the Mercedes. However, Brownie and S2000, the only two drivers in the top 5 without penalties. Yags is there as well in the top 10 without a penalty. Also, four-door DJ still exchanging very well through Sector 3 right now. DJ has been holding lead of that battle. And if they don't watch it, Tup Tuss will be there with them as well in just a few moments.
Things just really waiting. You feel like this is all going to boil over into the final few laps. Microlander has a little look around the outside of turn 3 on S2000. S2000 is just to the right to defend the inside to turn 4. Microlander really looking to try and find an interesting line. Be a bit creative with his overtakes here. And, you know, it's something you love to see someone putting in the pressure, apply it in a different way to try and force the guy driver ahead to make a mistake. But S2000 not taking the bait, just defending very nicely. Brilliant racing between these two. And those softs, they won't have much life left in them, especially at the end of the race. They could be within puncture territory, as there is DRS of both cars. But Microlander pushing with battery, and he is going to soar through here on the Avatarius. There's a bit of a tap between the two, a bit of a wheel bang. But it won't phase the Mercedes, who sweeps by into 4th place. Ben the Bear, the other Mercedes, well, he's poised. He's still looking for things. He's got a penalty, and, well, it's only 3 seconds, but that might hurt his chances of podiuming here. Might have to run into the bottom of the corner, had a little look.
Ooh, yeah, I think that would have been a little bit much. DRS now about to come online for these racers on the rear of Microlander. And you can see Microlander with that DRS on Brownie as well.
This train, it's going to be a hard-fought battle. The two for the lead of things, and that should be for winner things as well, depending on how Vexit's tires fare. Neon just needs to be a bit patient there.
Ooh, Wisp.
Yaya.
Very nice move there for Wisp. He wanted that inside coming through into turn 1, but Yaya saying, I want to hold on to 10th position right now. Has that inside coming through into turn 4 as we have it come back to Wisp. Yaya holds beautifully. Siffy under threat from Freeware. And the Bear within half a second of S2000. There's a good train on the rear of Brownie. Neon still with Vexit. Some great racing, some great strategy battles, and wheel-to-wheel battles unfolding now. Freeware and Siffy getting wheel-to-wheel, coming through into the right-hander. Freeware into 7th position on that Alpine.
Yeah, very nice. Now, Freeware's been putting in some really great moves as Wisp and Yaya again going at it. Whisper on the outside of turn 13. Very nicely done there. The Alfa Romeo gonna have a lunge up the inside of 15. No, that's a bold move and not common. That's a safety car. Noel's gonna have to get that position back, I think. Surely.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but whatever happened, he just stayed out of the pit lane.
Yeah, and well, Toptus is the car that crashed. I think high speed down the back straight. Now, what happens here? Because there's an opportunity to pit here for softs to the end. For S2000, it's a no-brainer, I think. But to who else? Does Vexit come in? 19 lap mediums?
I have to say,
if no one else comes in, it's game over. Potentially, but I think I want to say everyone, but it's a tough call.
I think we see everybody pit here. The penalties as well. This is late.
Brilliant for S2000. It's brilliant, and Brownie as well. But S2000 in particular, this saves his strategy. Came out at the perfect time. It's just going to be seen. Let's see if anyone takes the gamble. Obviously, if Vexit comes in, he needs as many people as possible to come in to make it as, as viable as possible. Does anyone as well? Where are the 5 seconds? Because anyone with 5 seconds, I think, Vexit's in, Neon's in. I think we are going to see, yeah, Brownie's coming in, Micro's coming in. Ben the Bear stays out to avoid the double stack.
I don't know if it's to avoid the double stack or to try something bold, because he will now take lead of this race, and he has done things bold before on safety car restarts. I don't know what we're going to see here. I could very well be wrong, and we could see him come into the pit lane still, but he's avoided a double stack at the very least. And he is now in lead of this race, and he'll catch up to the safety car just outside of turn 2 and 3 here. You see it there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Mercedes. He's the only one not out on the softs now. Everyone else has come in. And surely this means that he will just drop positions. It doesn't matter how fast you are.
Yeah.
You can't defend. You know, look at the caliber of driver he's got behind him. Vexit, Neon, Brownie, Micro. The list goes on, and you're just not going to be able to defend against them on fresh softs versus 12 level mediums. I just don't see it, but like you said, it's Ben the Bear. We've seen him pull things out of a hat before, but he's going to drop way down into this grid, and they're not going to be easy overtakes. They're on the same tires, and he wasn't making the overtakes when he was on equal tires on the mediums. So I don't see Ben finishing on the podium here, but I would love to be proved wrong, but I just don't see it happening, Jeff.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting now to see him, what he does. Does he come in here? Does he decide, okay, that was a mistake, the double stack might have been better? Or does he come in, man, or does he just stay? Yeah, it's just such a shuffle and shake up for his strategy. Now he finds himself in lead of a race. Everyone's got penalties, of course. He's got 3 seconds to his name. I think he pits.
Just had to.
I think he pits.
I think he should have pitted last lap. Just take the double stack. Should have just taken the double stack, in my opinion. But he's staying out. He's not doing it.
He's
it's
listening.
A bold call from him.
He's listening to me. He did that on purpose. Yeah, ha ha ha. Shake if you can hear me. Oh, that's funny. But we have Vexit, Neon. I think that what you said hits it right on the head. Genuinely. I think that he's not going to be able to defend against that caliber of driver. Brownie is in such a great spot here.
Well, we'll see how it works out for him. It's 10 laps. If it was a shorter stint, then maybe, but it's 10 laps, and there's so much opportunity for overtakes there that I just really do not see Ben holding on to a podium here.
Well, if he does, you and him are going to have one heck of a conversation after this race.
Yeah, he's going to be telling me how I didn't have any faith in him. But he's an incredible driver. I just think the strategy call here has not worked out well for him.
There seems to be some kind of shenanigans going on in the midfield here. I don't know if there's penalties at hand that are coming through, but everyone seems to be trying to shuffle their positions around. Lap 43 of 53, looking to go green on 44, and it will be a very, very serious last stint for all of these racers, most notably for this man right here, Mr. Ben the Bear. 13 lap old mediums, and well, he's certainly staying out now, and the safety car is coming in.
Well, if he does pit now, that'd be a very, very interesting call, and probably just lose the race, but you know what? He surprised us in the past, and he'd avoid any, safety car restart incidents. But I think he will just try and create a big divide here and just hold on to as many positions as possible.
Well, you know what his problem is? Something notably here is this will be now his 3rd safety car restart of the evening, and it will be his 3rd safety car restart of the evening in front of Vexit. Vexit knows his tricks and will be looking.
He's gone.
Yeah, well, and Vexit hasn't missed a beat either. Oh, I'll tell you who did though.
Yeah,
Oh
what's happened
my
behind?
God. Well, Brownie just won the race. I'm just kidding. Vexit now pushing on Ben the Bear as we come into turn 2. It's a very clean move, and it's pretty well as you said. That 14 lap old set of tires is not going to be doing him any favors at all coming through turns like that.
Well, the problem as well is he's not going to have any DRS to hold on here. So as Vexit starts to charge away, which he will do, undoubtedly so, you know, there's a 10th in 2 corners, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger, that gap. I think Ben just wants to lose as little few positions as possible. That's his strategy. But 3 seconds of penalties, it's not going to help him. He's got less than most people behind him, but Brownie's going to get past on penalties, if not on track. I expect him on track, but Neon's going to get through on track. So there's no podium here for Ben, in my mind, unless one of these guys has an incident.
Very unfortunate position to find yourself in at the end of a race.
Brownie just needs to get through quickly so he can go and try and stay within 3 seconds of Vexit as Wisp muscles his way through on Noel Coleman. DJ as well. That's misjudged into turn 15. Slams into the side of Wisp, and Noel is going to try and take it straight back from the Aston Martin. He gets back into 11, but they're still side by side as Wisp around the outside. Later on the next wheel banging there. There's a bit of contact. It's getting a bit hairy down outside of the points.
I think Four-Door might have a good opportunity to get Noel here as well. He's utilizing that battery. There's no DRS just yet. You can see not too far out in front, Siffy on this timing tower is tight to the rear. Yeah, in the train. And, well, Four-Door looking around the outside of turn 2. Nothing doing just yet. Yags now on the rear freeware. Look back to DJ. He's here with Four-Door Sedan through turn 3. We are on lap 45 out of 53, and there's some desync for Four-Door Sedan there, and I don't know if there was desync for Wisp as well, but Noel is now into 11th position.
Quite sure about any desync on my end, but obviously the game likes to play its little tricks as Wisp goes down and hits the sausage curb as well as DJ gives him a little squeeze on the inside. Four-Door Sedan is going to take full advantage of that as well, and decide DJ find his way past Noel Coleman as well. 8 laps to go here, and Noel trying to throw DJ off the scent here, but DJ is going to go up the inside of 12 to try and find the outside. It breaks really early for 13, and he's lucky that Four-Door Sedan wasn't too close behind, but finds the switch back through 14, puts himself alongside, and keeps trying to go for this move in the final sector. It is possible, but I wouldn't recommend it, that's for sure. I would much rather wait till the DRS run into turn 2 as Ben the Bear inevitably drops yet another position, falls into 3rd. He's doing pretty well, though, to be fair, considering the tyres. But there is still a huge train of cars ready and waiting to pounce. And there's still plenty of time to do it in as well.
DJ 11th position ahead of Noel Carlman right now. Noel looking for a potential switchback on the inside as we come through turn 3, and he is holding well in front of that Alfa Romeo. How's it going to come back through into 4? DJ looks to the inside. A little bit of a wheel bang there, nothing too major, as now Siffy has come together with Yaya, and he is now looking the other way. That is not what you want to be doing on lap 46. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, to come all this way and then to have an incident like that. You don't want to be the one responsible. You don't obviously want to be the victim either. Ben the Bear under increasing pressure from Brownie. Brownie not quite finding it yet, but those soft tires will carry him through. That's for sure. Microlander as well. You'd expect to see an overtake from him pretty soon too on his teammate.
No, 10th position for him right now. DJ getting on the brakes very early, and I think that Wisp, some kind of desync here between him and DJ, certainly, as there's a retirement. What's happened? We have a safety car deployment on lap 46. What the heck happened there? That is going to be Yags. He is into the wall.
This just went from bad to worse for Ben, because now he's just gonna.
Noel just took a drive-through.
That is just terrible, terrible. You know, again, you just need to be careful at Delta. There's not really too much to gain. There's a whole lot to lose, though, by dancing right on the edge. But, yeah, Ben, well, now all those fast drivers behind, they're going to get even closer to him on these soft tyres. And, well, he does get closer to the front, too, but it looks awful for him, but there are a lot of penalties behind him. I think that's his gamble. But then you would have had that gamble sort of reversed had you been in front, behind, because then you would have gained the position. So
Oh, what happened with Noel? But he's taking 2 drive-throughs.
I don't think we've ever seen that. But how do you take 2 drive-through penalties? Is he just continuously speeding under safety car? I don't quite understand how you would take 2.
Oh, that's odd.
See if it says anything in the race director about why you would take 2 drive-through penalties. They are both speeding under safety car.
Well, he can't serve it, and he's got 2 back-to-back. He might just retire this car.
Well, it's game over. You're not coming back from 2 drive-through penalties.
That's usually an indicator for a retirement, but yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you got a 3-second penalty on that lap as well. For track limits, very unfortunate. 48 laps in.
But he did take 2 drive-throughs?
Yeah, he did. And a 3-second time penalty for track limits as well.
Oh. Alrighty then. Uh-oh. And this race has been quite dynamic, to say the least. That's one way to put it. And Brownie, no penalties on the German driver.
And there's going to be a sprint finish for all of these drivers, with the exception of Ben the Bear, who's really going to have to limp the car home. And it's just a case of how far can he get on these tires, and how high can he stay? Because surely the podium is gone. In my mind, there is no chance for him to get on the podium. The only opportunity he has is best finishes 4th with the penalty situation.
Safety car going around again. What a shuffled race.
It's been very, very up and down for various different drivers. There was a point where Vexit's race looked like it was all over with the collision with the desynced car.
S2000 is in. Why?
Surely not a... Unless he has a 5 seconds to shave off, or a wing to be changed.
5-second shave. That's
now,
not a bad
usually
idea.
this would be smart, but I don't know if it is, because I think a lot of people, they've also got big penalties. And I think he would have finished higher had he not done that. The only person this brings him in range of, really, would have been the front 4, who he's no longer in fighting distance of. I think that's a mistake. Usually it's a good idea, but in this instance, I don't think he's played the field right. That's a big misjudgment, I think, from the AlphaTauri garage. Because now, sure, he might find a few people, but he won't finish ahead of IDJ and 4-door sedan. Unless he can, you know, find them. Or maybe he does, but...
It's tight. It's a very interesting call. It's a gamble, to say the least. And now, well, we'll see, really. What happens? What happens here?
Noel coming across in chat saying he couldn't see the delta, which explains the speeding. He didn't have a car in front of him either to sort of monitor that off. So very unfortunate there for Noel, but we'll see where S2000 ends up. He might get those positions back with the penalties, but it's going to be close. It's going to be interesting to see how he ends this here. Surely now the safety car will come in. Vexit aggressively shaking the wheel of his car to get some heat into those tires. He is very, very much ready to get going, and well, we are going to be going on that 50. The race will go green. 4 laps. All it will be here around Russia.
It's been a great race, I think. There's been a lot of great battles. I think there's been some good strategy play in it. The safety car like kind of shuffling things up, bringing strategy, penalties, and craft into things as well. When you think about the fact that you need to make it through without any penalties, and Brownie has certainly done very well with that. Microlander does not want to be the guy to touch that guy on the rear and give him a 5-second penalty, let me tell you.
Front three have got away well, and given Ben's tyre situation, I think that's pretty impressive.
No.
As IDJ, he's facing the wrong way.
That is very bad luck for IDJ right now. 4-door sedan under immediate pressure from the driver who would have been fighting with DJ. S2000 is there as well. Siffy, S2000, 4-door. Oh my, look at this. Siffy's just been mugged. Absolutely mugged. S2000 pushing through. He's in 8th position. Wisp's looking at him for the inside through.
Gone.
Oh my god. How has that happened to the Mercedes? Wisp now with S2000. They're still wheel-to-wheel in through turn 5.
I don't know what happened to Microlander there. Just sliding across the turn at turn 4. Just his car had no intention of gripping at any point. This has been a brilliant restart for S2000. Any worries that he wasn't going to finish where he was completely evaporated. He's going to finish ahead of the 2 guys ahead of him, provided he doesn't do anything silly. And, you know, maybe he can hunt down, you know, potentially the likes of Ben if he can get close enough to that 3-second window.
Man, what a restart that was. Look at this now. Yeah. He's got 15 seconds in penalties, but that's not going to stop him from fighting with Freeware. Well, Freeware is going into the pit lane.
That's a good way to put a stopper in. That is Microlander again a problem. His tire's really overheated.
It's very interesting.
Plus, Freeway must be in for pit stops, for repairs, I think. It's a front wing change. Microlander as well in. He's getting just fresh tires, but nothing to lose for him, and gets rid of the overheated tires. Risks.
Oh!
No, a Siffy's round.
S2000 just picked up 3 seconds. All that penalty shaving he did, which I think at this point would have gotten him a podium.
Well, I don't think it would have got him a podium. I think he will still finish where he would have done. It really just, if he finds himself fighting with Ben now at the end and he doesn't get past, that's when he's going to be kicking himself. If he finishes within 3 seconds of Ben, which I think he has a high likelihood of doing, it's only going to be one place at the end of the day, but it is still a huge self-shot to the foot as he struggles to find a way past Yaya into turn 13.
We're about to go on to the penultimate lap of this race, and it's Vexit, Neon, Ben the Barrier top 3, all 3 of them with 3-second time penalties. Brownie is just sitting there waiting for a potential win. He won't wait. He'll try to push position, and that's what he's doing right now. He's utilizing that battery. He's utilizing that DRS. You can see Ben. No rear wing wide open. And here goes Brownie through with ease on the tie driver into a podium paying position. Very nicely done. S2000 on the rear of yeah. Then 3/10.
tire strategy's worked out really well for Ben as S2000. Does he look for the move here on the inside of 4? No, he doesn't. Oh, he does have a little loft up though to the rear of Yaya. But yeah, Ben, going back to him, miraculous pace on those old mediums. He's done very well. He's kept with the leaders as well as he needs to. Again, he does lose the podium, but nevertheless, great bit of fight from him. And would he have done that if he'd have taken the double stack? Well, we'll never know. So maybe that was the right call for him, but certainly wasn't a bad call. Just potentially a missed opportunity. As S2000 drops big time on Yaya. Is there damage on that car? Because he's dropping a huge amount of time, and he might even get caught by Wisp here again. Tires penalty, sorry, will play a massive role at the end and won't really affect him either way. But just interesting to see him struggling for pace in these last couple of laps, as Vector is going to cross onto the last lap now.
Vexit now leading lap 53 of 53. Neon 3 seconds of penalties behind him. The pair of the drivers being hunted down by Brownie. Brownie, of course, in the Haas has been pushing very hard all race. He's made up 15 positions. He's had 4 stops. He has no penalties, and he is the only remaining driver on this grid without a penalty. He is on the last lap.
Wisp and S2000 just got a little bit rough, Striff. Luckily, the AlphaTauri didn't spin round. They just went very, very wheel to wheel into turn 2, and I don't think it's going to hurt S2000's finishing position, but it would have done. He needs to finish within 15 seconds of Yaya and 9 seconds of, oh, sorry, 8 seconds of Wisp.
DJ tight right now. DJ is in the points paying position, surprisingly enough, after his unfortunate spin on the restart earlier on. 3 seconds in time penalties could very well see him launch himself into a couple of other points paying positions. And here we have it. Exit. Root coming to the line, Unicorn.
Brilliant win from him as him and Neon celebratory slide through as Brownie. He's done it, Striff.
He got him. What a win.
No penalties. We always say it. It pays to be clean. And Brownie getting full marks for that. 25 points for the German. With no penalties, getting promoted from P3 to P1. Ben finishes 4th. Great play with the strategy there. The AlphaTauri is 5th and 6th. S2000. Brilliant little result there from him with that, late 5-second removal in the pit lane, working wonders for him. Ford Sedan as well. Nice race from him. And he finds himself 10 places up from where he started. Also, Brownie, 17 places gained in that race, Striff. Absolutely huge performance from him. Wisp, 8 places gained. DJ finishing 8th. He's up a huge host of positions as well. So some miraculous drives in there. Really, really good racing. And well, that bodes well. And driver of the day does go to IDJ. I'm surprised Brownie didn't get it, unless the Simon Tower was lying to me. But there he is. Brownie takes the top spot. I'm sure he will be thrilled.
Well, a heck of a drive
with the
to
win.
come through with no penalties for the German. And, well, it's a Russian win for him. Got a Ferrari there with him as well. And, well, just a stellar performance. Let's take a look at the classification now before we get some interviews in a raid. Great finish to that. There it is, Brownie in the Haas, Vexit in the Ferrari, and we had Neon with us as well. Hopefully we'll get some interviews from the 3 of them. And it was just a solid race. As you can see, Brownie, 18th position is where he began. And, well, disconnected. But solid race. I didn't get to go through the last classification there, but everybody had penalties on that grid except Brownie. Every single driver.
Yeah, awesome drive from Brownie, and for a lot of those other guys as well. Some really good wheel-to-wheel racing, and a lot of drivers finishing that one a very clean race for a lot of people, and some redemption drivers as well. Vexit, he really came back. Brownie came back with a broken front wing as well. So I think we are gonna kickstart some interviews here with our podium sitters.
Well, it was a very, very long race, 53 laps of contention, a little bit of desync throughout. Neon now joining us from the Aston Martin team this evening. How you feeling? Congratulations on a P3 finish. It was a very, very tight race to the end with everybody. Penalties playing a little bit of a role, but of course, you got through it. You got to the end, and you got yourself a solid haul of points with a podium position, Neon. So congratulations. How you feeling?
Tired. It was a long race. Qualifying was a bit shocking. Didn't have any practice, just hopped on the game after like a few days of not playing. So in the race started to picking it up. Then with Exit, with Luke Smith as he's called now, we pushed away 1-2. He got wing damage of a desynced AI, which was unlucky, which is why he pitted from the mediums. Then we just pushed away. And we had the safe gap, and then of course that was a very late safety car, which made it kind of fun with Brownie, because Brownie was of course in P4 with no penalties. So me and Luke tried to push away, but it was just Brownie had a little bit too good of a pace, too good pace to for us to be able to push away.
It was a really, really solid race. We saw quite a multitude of safety cars in this one. 4 full safety cars, I do believe, and a VSC in the end was the final count. How did that impact you in your race? Was it just kind of something that prolonged the race? You were always confident that you would be able to kind of come through, or were there moments in this race you thought the podium would be out of reach?
Definitely after quali, I thought that there was not going to be podium, because there was quite a few fast guys in front of me, also still behind me. So I knew it was going to be tough, especially with the soft stint. I just felt like I had no pace. I was drifting everywhere. So I wanted to get off the softs ASAP, because I knew the mediums would be faster, and in the end it worked out.
Well, it was a great, great race from you, Neon, of course. 53 laps in Sochi to collect a podium is no small feat. So any messages for the viewers before we move on to talk to Luke?
Thanks for Harlem and Richie for screaming in my ears watching the fight while we were racing.
Well, shout out to Harlem and Richie for that, and hopefully you're all right after that. And we'll potentially see you here for another race soon.
Yeah, bye.
All right, that was Neon, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us for an interview. No stranger to this commentary booth this season at all. Joining us once again, it is the very fast, the very rapid Mr. Luke Smith, P2 this evening in Sochi. How you feeling?
A bit robbed with that late safety car, but yeah, you gotta make sure that you don't get penalties. Like if there's in case of a late safety car. So yeah, got it, but yeah,
We've
living
said
and learning.
in the past, Unicorn and I have said, of course, how critical it can be to get a safety car very, very late like that, and with the penalty, it just sets you back. And Brownie, a very clean race today. You also had a very clean race today. Only the 3-second time penalty, I think, for you in the end there. But sometimes when the safety car is that late, that's all it can take. You did have such a nice restart. Took what you needed from Ben when he was on those mediums. You were able to pull a bit of a gap, and unfortunately, that safety car came out again. 4 safety cars, 1 VSC in the end for this one. How does this one play for the past endurance races? Where do you rank it? Of course, there was quite a few more drivers at the end of this one compared to some of the ones previous, but of course, Russia, P2 in the end, potential win there. Does it give you a really good sense for endurance races to come? Is it one of your better ones? Where do you rank this race? Because we didn't get rain, but we might have got rain today.
Yeah. I think the reason for the rain, I think, was the league system doesn't allow you to choose custom weather, by the way. But yeah, in terms of like ranking this race, it was a pretty good race. Definitely one of my better driven ones. I had good pace. Chose the right strategy. Had a bit of misfortune with I think it was Yags, who was desynced for me, and then I got damaged, which was why I pitted around lap 20. Otherwise I would have been looking to go to the end probably on those mediums. But yeah, it was definitely one of my better driven races. And yeah, I really had to push for that one. So yeah, GG to Neon, Brownie, and everyone involved.
Yeah, it was definitely a great race. Unicorn, do you have any questions for Luke before we jump on with Brownie?
No, I just think it was a very, very strong performance from you. And we did see on our timing tag, just one quick question about qualifying. Were the times between you and Ben identical as well? Because it seems a bit of a glitch on our end, but we've had that before. But was it identical on your end as well with the qualifying times in the sort of mid portion of that session?
Yeah, it was both. I think it was a 1:29.981. Was it something like that? But yeah, we were both on the same thing, and I know why it does that, and it's because the game, instead of just going to 3 decimal places, the game goes to 5. So both our times were 0.981 or whatever it was XX, and his like 4th and 5th digits was just smaller than mine, so that's why he was able to go ahead.
Well, Luke, congratulations, huge performance. Obviously, a decent car, and it might have cost you here, but still a brilliant recovery from you. Still to cross the line first, and obviously to finish second after penalties applied.
Yeah, that was really really fun. Thanks for having it.
Congratulations, Luke.
Thank you.
All right, that was Luke Smith, our second position finisher in this race. Now we are going to jump in with our race winner this evening. It is going to be Brownie. What a race. It was looking pretty grim from the first lap there for you, but you must be so thrilled having come back from that to take a race win, 53 laps. Oh my.
The lap 1 was ridiculous.
So what was the emotional roller coaster like for you in this campaign?
Oh, you have no idea. Like I just realized I ate like 13 hours ago, and my concentration just completely went over the race. After the last safety car, I thought I might have to stop, but then for the last lap, I knew I have to just really pull it together, and I did. I managed to do it. Yeah, I actually didn't think I would be able to stay in the 3 seconds, but somehow I did.
20 drivers in Russia today. You were one to finish the race. Considering some of the endurance races previous, that is a very big achievement. Secondly, I want to say that you were the only driver in the campaign today to do it penalty free. And so that was, I think, in the end, a major key to success in taking the race win. But how did it feel?
I can tell you my secret.
What's your secret?
So my secret is I didn't drive for the whole week. And the thing is, if you're really unpracticed, then it's harder to get penalties on Russia, because you're not really driving on the right lines. You're just driving either pretty safe within the track, or you're going super wide. And then if you go super wide, you don't get a penalty either. So that's why I only got 1 warning today.
1 warning. You made it through 53 laps of Russia with 1 warning after 4 safety cars and a VSC. And there was a moment there on the last safety car, and I said it to Unicorn, and I said it on broadcast. I said, I do not want to be that guy that gives Brownie a 5-second penalty on a safety car, because I can only imagine the reaction on the other end of how that would go. I think to Brains 2 in Spa or something like this, but it was a thrilling race to watch you come through the field. Such a number of positions gained in the end, and it was such a long race when you think about the safety cars at that. We didn't get the weather dynamics, of course, we wanted. We tried the league system. However, there was still a little bit of desync, but you managed to push through a very, very quick and skilled field at that as well. Keep it consistent, push through 4 safety cars in a VSC, and collect a win. So it was a huge race for you. Where does this rank in races for you? Because I have to say, it's quite a long haul to come back from. And if you weren't there on the first lap, ladies and gentlemen, this guy had no front wing before turn 2.
I had a car on top of mine.
Yeah, so
that
what a win.
Happened. And it was before turn 1, I think.
I think it was before turn 1, and that's very, very impressive considering there's barely a turn 1 here. And it's just a very, very good race for you in the end. So congratulations.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Any last words for the stream?
Yeah, thank you for the cool races you set up, and it was really fun today. And
to
yeah,
see you
really
next week,
stressful,
hopefully.
but it was a nice workout.
Well, good luck in this coming round of MRL Suzuka. I know that's coming up and everyone's going to be practicing, and so good luck with that. And I don't think Unicorn has any comments, but well, have a great night, Brownie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we go. That was Brownie, our race winner. Man, oh man, what a race. What a race, Unicorn. So thrilling to be able to watch that exchange of 53 laps here in Sochi ahead of tomorrow's race. But that's it from us. That is it. That's all she wrote, as you'd say, here in Russia. And well, it was us here, George and I, from Russia with love, as they say, with 53 laps of great intensity. And I have to say, that's one of my favorite endurance races of the season so far, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, to see that many, obviously that many people finishing the race, that sort of clean racing action again, a huge fight for the lead. You know, multiple cars in it, the safety cars at the end, shuffling it up a little bit, but obviously in the end it came down to penalties. Brownie getting past, you know, Luke and Neon there in the dying stages, you know, but a lot happened in that race. You know, strategies, S2000 shaving off the penalty, was that the right call? Ben the Bear staying out on the mediums, we'll never know, but the drama, the intrigue was there in that race, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Obviously, MRL action kicks off again this week. We just come off of a week break, but we'll be going to Suzuka for all of our tiered divisions, starting with Tier 4 on Monday at 8 p.m. BST, and I forget how that converts over to American times, but 8 p.m. BST, 9 p.m. Central European times, and I think it's on your screens now. But yeah, we hope you'll join us for that. We hope you enjoyed this evening, but thank you all so much. Take care, and thank you all so much for watching.